Hello and welcome to this short tutorial which is going to show you how to add audio to your video slideshow project in Premiere Pro. Now if you've followed the other video tutorial, you've probably got something similar to this, which is you'll have all your images laid out on your timeline, and hopefully you've gone through and you've scaled out any that might have black lines around the edges. And you've also popped in probably some transitions between the images. I've got dip to blacks here, but remember on the left hand side, just over in video transitions, you've always got the option of adding in some cross dissolves and some different options in there. Also, you might have already included some titles as well, and as you can see I've just got a basic title on here, and I've got a simple transition at the start and at the end. So at this stage you may decide that you want to include some music underneath the images, or maybe a voiceover, and hopefully you've already recorded this or downloaded your music. What you want to do then is you want to come over, and just like you would with an image or a video file, you want to import it into the bin over here on the left hand side. And so the first thing you want to do is you just want to go File, Import, navigate your way till you find your audio file, and just go Open. And there it is sitting on the bin. You then want to navigate over to your source monitor. So it's just the tab just beside your effect controls. And then you want to click on the audio file and drag and drop it into your source monitor. Now for those who have edited video before, you'll be familiar with the next few steps, but if you haven't edited anything in the source monitor before, this is the basic introduction to that. So what you can do is you can use your transport keys to start playing the music, or to stop the music, and you can also grab this blue dot which is called your CTI, and you can drag it through, try and find the section of your voiceover, for instance, that you might want to use. But for the purposes of this, let's say we wanted to use an audio file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that CTI and bring it right back to the start, because in this case I want to use the start of the song. Then I'm going to click I for in on my keyboard, and I'm just going to, then I could press play, and I could wait for it to play through till it was about sort of the area I wanted it to stop. I'm just going to drag it through because I know roughly at the moment my video is about 28 seconds long. So I'm just going to bring it around this 30-second mark. And I'm going to click O for out. So I for in, O for out. Now what I'm going to do is to bring this selection down onto my timeline, I'm going to click on that audio file right there. Click on the image of it. So I'm going to click, drag, and I'm going to bring it down to audio 1 and then let go. If you happen to place it off to the side, you just can easily click on it and drag it all the way to the left. And as you can see at the end here, I've got too much audio. I want it to be right in line with my last image. So I can just hover my cursor over the end, and you'll notice that a red bracket will appear. I can then click and drag it to the left, and you'll see it automatically snaps and wants to sort of finish the audio in line with the image, so I can let that go right there. And so now I've got some music that directly goes for the same length as my video. Obviously if this was a voiceover track as opposed to music, I would be still going through my source monitor and going I for in, O for out, and bringing down the sections that I want to use. Now the next thing you'll notice is probably the music might be a little bit too loud for you. So let's say for example you wanted to bring the volume down. There's a couple of ways you can do this. The most simplest way is to click on that yellow line which is on the audio file, and you can simply drag it down. You can see the further I drag it down, I can go -12 for example, and if I played that, it's a lot lower. By the same token, I could click on the yellow line and drag it all the way up and make it a lot louder. Cool. So, you know, that's great if you want to make it the same level for the whole track, but a common question I often get asked is, what if I want it to start off loud and then I want it to get quieter and then I want it to get louder? And so you've got these little transitions throughout the audio file. And so the way you do this is, first of all I'm going to put my CTI where I want to make my first transition, so I'm just going to drag it to the start here. Then up in your effect controls you can click on that tab. You can drop down the volume option right there, drop down the option for level, And what we're going to do is we're going to keyframe our volume. This is a bit more advanced step in the basic editing, so don't worry about it if it's just a voiceover. But what you can do is you can click on that little dot that's right there, which adds a keyframe. And what you're basically doing is you're telling Premiere Pro that at this point in the audio you want it to be a certain audio level, and obviously you can just determine that on the left hand side here. So I could go, oh, I want it to be quite soft. So I'm going to go -9. Then I can move my little CTI along in my timeline, and I can bring it to about here, and I can go, oh, at this point, and I'm going to add another keyframe, and I can change the volume up a little bit. So between these two keyframes, I want the volume to suddenly get a lot louder. And so you can see what we're doing here. We're just sort of moving along. Say I wanted it to stay this certain level for a little while, I can just put another keyframe in so it doesn't change. I can move it along, make it a lot softer. And so yeah, you could do this for your whole project if you wanted to. You could do it just at the start if you wanted a slow increase in volume. Another common question I'll get asked with audio is to do with the very, very end. If I was to play this, it suddenly stops, and it's quite harsh. And what you can do is on the left hand side here in your effects, I'm just going to twirl that up. I'm going to go into audio transition and drop that down, and there we've got constant power. So I can click on that, I can drag and drop it at the very end of my audio. So similar to your transitions with your video or your pictures, sorry. So this has put in a little bit of a transition for us, and so between that time on our timeline, it's going to get a lot quieter. What you'll notice is that's probably quite a short transition, so once again I can click on the transition and it will turn to a dark green colour, and I can drag it out to the left. And now if I move my CTI just before that, you'll notice the difference. Just like that. And by the same token, you could do that at the start as well if you wanted. So there's a few different ways that you can manipulate your audio. Remember that it's exactly the same if you're using music or if you're using a voiceover. Just remember, obviously, if it's a voiceover, you're going to have to be a little bit more careful with your selections, and you can just do that simply in your source monitor and just drag them down. But hopefully after that, you've got your images, your transitions, your titles, your audio, and then you should be right to export your project. If you do happen to have any issues adding audio, please don't hesitate to come and see one of us in the Maps team, because we're more than happy to help you out. Apart from that, good luck with your project.